Leeds have just lost 2-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Um, God, that was a frustrating game because we were absolutely class in the first half. I mean, when I saw the lineups and there was obviously no Ayling, still no Bamford, no Rodrigo, no Rafinha. I think Rafinha's ill and Rodrigo might have picked up a knock on the international break. Um, but I mean, come on, and obviously Firpo, who did come off the bench, but we started with Strauch at left back again, who was good, admittedly, against Leicester, but he's not a left back. Forshaw comes in again, played really well. Dan James had the best game so far he's had for Leeds, and he scored as well to cap that off. And Joe Gelhardt as well, shooting every chance he's got. He's brilliant to see, bobbing and weaving as he does, as we've come to know now. But that first half, we were absolutely all over them. We had so much of the ball. We were pressing well. We were defending brilliantly. Calvin Phillips, I mean, even towards the end of the game as well, Calvin Phillips, Harry Kane didn't have a sniff apart from that shot that hit the post that came off Meslier. Calvin Phillips was just in there every time, tackling him and taking the ball off him, and he just looked a bit out of sorts again, Harry Kane. So it just shows, doesn't it, there's a slight difference between scoring goals against Andorra and San Marino than there is in the Premier League. Jokes aside, obviously we know Kane's a brilliant striker, but he's definitely out of sorts, and Calvin had him in his back pocket today. Yeah, so that first half we were fantastic. We were always finding spaces in behind them, always creating chances, and the actual goal, Jack Harrison did a filthy little nutmeg on Emerson Royale. Emerson Royale then obviously is on the wrong side of him, and Harrison can then get his body in front of him, and Emerson obviously could never get the ball back from that point onwards, and then he whips in a lovely low cross across the box, perfect place. Anywhere else in it's not a goal, and Dan James finishes it off for his first goal for Leeds, and that's just before half time. So we've played absolutely class in that first half, brilliant. Back to our old selves, really. But the thing is, because you weren't expecting a good performance, because you're expecting that we've got no players and, do you know what I mean, everyone's injured, you just feel like it's not going to be a good game from the Leeds point of view. But then when you do play well and you go in at the half time, you expect to be winning the whole game, obviously. But when we came back out after half time, we were still creating chances, but they were creating a lot more than they were in the first half. They had the one that I mentioned where Kane hit it against Meslier and it came off the post. And then the one where Son hit the bar, that wasn't even on target at all. It was probably going to go out for a throw in, but it hit Llorente, went over the top of Meslier and hit the bar. Then obviously their two goals, which they did, I'll admit, come into the game a lot more, and it was a lot more even in that second half, and perhaps they got the better of us in the second half. I definitely feel that. But the goals that they actually scored were very lucky. I mean, especially the second one where it just hit a defender from an Eric Dyer free kick where he just lumped it into the wall. Then it just bounced off the post and came straight back to Reguilon. Obviously, well done to him because that's the only person who reacted to it, but we should be reacting to stuff like that. And Meslier sort of looked as if it had already gone in, and when it came back out to Reguilon, he was the only person who'd reacted and scored. So, yeah, that one was lucky, and Højbjerg scuffed his as well, so it's very frustrating because you expect to win when you've had a first half like that, but then I think it brings you back down to earth a little bit, and not to pick on Stuart McKinstry because he didn't really do anything wrong, but just the simple fact that somebody like him from the 23s is somebody who's not really been even talked about for the first team picture is being brought on when you're trailing and you've got to try and get a goal and a point out of the game. It kind of puts things into perspective with our injury crisis. Tyler obviously came on as well and didn't really do much. Didn't have that much time, granted, to do much, but we really could have done with Rodrigo and Rafinha in this game. I think if we'd have had them in the first half, we could have probably put 2 or 3 past them, and then going into the second half, it would have been a much more comfortable game. as it is, they've got a fantastic new manager in Antonio Conte, who's obviously world class, and he's obviously sorted it out at half time. They've come back into the game. They weren't vastly better than us, which is obviously a very good thing for us to say considering our injury crisis. But they were better than us in the second half, but we were much better than them in the first. So I think we just didn't get the rub of the green today. It was unlucky that we lost, but I really think that if we play like that against Brighton, especially with Forshaw and Phillips in there, and Rafinha back and Rodrigo back hopefully as well, maybe even Bamford back, then I think we should beat Brighton, and we really need to get rid of this duck of we just can't beat Brighton in the Premier League because it's 2 games, 2 losses now, and they're not vastly better than us. In fact, they're not better than us as well. Even if you look player for player, I know Micah Richards was talking before the game, saying about how half time, saying about how Leeds are not like individually fantastic, but as a team, as a collective, we play really well together. But even against Brighton, I think as individuals we have better players in most positions, and then as a team we should be beating them. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next Sunday in that game. I just think we were very unlucky today. If we'd have took our chances, we would have won that game by a few goals, I think. But like I say, you always, if you're winning 1-0, always give them that chance to get back into the game. So that's going to be it for this one. Thanks for watching the video. A little bit depressing, but we go again next week, like I say, at Brighton. I really think we can get 3 points from that game. So like if you like the video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.